Just thinking about this 10 days, neither signs nor vetoes it for 10 days during which Congress is in session. Yeah, it automatically becomes a law without the signature of the president. Yeah. If the president receives a bill less than 10 days before Congress adjourns and fails to sign it within that period, it does not become a law. This is called a pocket veto. Yes. But if the president, yes, sends it back to Congress with his objections, this is called a veto. Yes. Now, Congress may decide to vote for the bill again if the two-thirds of all senators and of the representatives are in favor of it. The bill becomes a law in spite of the president's veto. Now, there's really this availability, yes, of not protecting the two-thirds vote of Congress. Yes. Because if the president receives the bill, yes, and did have objections to it, it would have to be within the time before the 10 days of adjournment. Yes. Now, for you to hand the president a bill within those 10 days, yes, it could automatically become a law. Yes. If it's less than 10 days, it fails to become a law if the president doesn't sign it. Yeah. But what I think is happening is we're not protecting the two-thirds vote of Congress. Now, let's say I was president. You hand me a bill that you say you want to have as a law. I object to certain conditions of the actual law itself. If you handed it to me within 20 days of adjournment, yes, I might not have time to read it. Yes, then I would probably document my objections to it, and I would hand it back to you. Phew. Now, you could vote on it, yes, but there is this idea of the president objecting to certain provisions of the law. Yes. Now, it says here, if the president refuses to sign a bill, yes, refuses to sign it, in the actual condition that it is, but it has been passed by both houses of Congress and sends it back to Congress with his objections, this is called a veto. Now, let's say I had some objections, and you wanted to protect your right as a Congress to pass a law that I objected to. Yes. But you didn't want to have to reconsider it. Yes. But I would say you'd have to. Yes. Because it's called a veto. Now, this two-thirds of the senators and the representatives that are in favor of it, are you in favor of it with my objections or without? Oh. Now, let's say as the president, you weren't protecting your two-thirds vote, were you? I'd like to know every bill that was submitted to the presidency within the 10 days before adjournment. And then I'd like to know what you were doing as a Congress. Yes. For those 10 days. Now, I would think that there should never be a bill given to the president without at least 10 additional days so the president could read it. Yeah. He could object to it, called it a veto. Yes. And then you would protect your right to pass it into law. Yes. Now, this idea of the Congress, yeah, I want to know what you were doing 20 days before adjournment, and then every bill that you gave to the White House, or you thought it was easier to not protect your right to pass into law. The actual bill that was passed by the Congress, or is it the bill that was passed because of the objections of the president? Now, as the president, let's say you did use your two-thirds vote, and I decided that I wanted to make sure that every American citizen did know the bill that you handed me, yes, and my objections to it. Has there ever been a president that thought, well, you passed this into law, yes, but these were my objections to it, and I think that every American citizen needs to know why I objected to them? See, I don't think we're really being told what is being given to the president to sign as a law in the form that Congress passes it. Yes. And then I don't think we're being told the reasoning of why there was an objection to some of the provisions of the bill. Yes. And why Congress decided to pass it. Yes. And the president disagreed with the decision making of Congress. Now, when we look at the last 40 years, pooch, I want to know the pocket vetoes, where you acted like you wanted it to become law, but you handed it to the president within 10 days of adjournment. Because I'm one of these that if you handed me the bill right now, I would have a talk with Congress about how these laws are supposed to be made. And then if you handed me a bill, the 11 days before adjournment, or the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, you intentionally did not give me time to be able to read the bill. Now, a lot of these laws, yes, I think, yes, as a nation, we're going to make sure that the actual president of the United States can read them. Yeah. And then, are you thinking about these 1,500-page laws that have all those additional provisions and conditions? Yes. You know, as a president, if you ask me to read 1,500 pages of law, yes, without giving me at least 10 days to read it so that I could object to any of the conditions of the law, ouch! I would say that you're intentionally making laws that are not readable within the time necessary, yes, to exercise my presidential authority.